Sports Scope, the most influential sports talk show in the nation.
What is today, the 19th?
Stay tuned for updates and great sports content.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Sports Scope. I'm your host, Robert Butler. On this 8th day, we are, 72 hours, maybe a little bit less, I would say, of closer to maybe 70 hours away from the Super Bowl. Can't wait. Going to talk. Got a great guest, not a good guest, great guest. This is going to be Tucker Carlson and Vladimir Putin. Okay, Sonja Pearson. Now, Sonia, I've got to ask Sonia. Is her name? It's spelled with a J. We're going to have to find out. Because I noticed that Mac from the Mac and Jack show calls her Sonia. So we got that's one of the big mysteries I want to find out. But no, seriously, she's one of the co-hosts of the Mac and Jack and Jim Jeffco's show. Started on about, I don't know, maybe 6 months ago, give or take a few months or so. Going to have her on. She's originally out of the Charlotte area, lives in the Atlanta area. Going to talk some NFC South of Sonia, get a little bit of her background. Great email address that she has. I don't know if she's working on the website for that or not. Football from a lady's perspective, and you know, there's a lot of growth in the women views of the NFL and whatnot, and that is interesting, especially with the Taylor Swift thing that's been talked about. But anyways. Going to be a great guest. Going to ask her Super Bowl analysis and pick and whatnot. Also, as you see it in the title, NBA trade deadline, not really a lot of big moves, but the Knicks do add on here. And there was some news about the Knicks. The Knicks somewhat remind me of another team, and I'll talk about that after the break. Going to get my take on the Clippers. The Clippers remind me of a team, a historical team. Both of these teams won championships. Actually think with the right breaks, yes, the Clippers and the Knicks could possibly win the championship. Never thought I would say that, especially with the Clippers, right? But anyways, stand by. Let's go ahead and take our first and only break. I'll be back here in 49 seconds. We'll hit the ground running here on Sports Scope. Hello, Sports Scope followers. The program has seen tremendous growth since going 5 days a week. I just wanted to thank everybody for your cash contributions and sharing the program with friends and families. Just a reminder, if you want to contribute to the program, go to the Cash App, the cash sign, and Sports Scope. There are other ways to contribute to the program listed at the bottom of the screen. If you want to advertise on the program, go to sports, that is sports with an S, another S, scope, SKOPE, at gmail.com, just like it's listed at the bottom of the screen. Thank you and enjoy the program. All righty then, now I'm back. Okay, really the biggest trades, there was a lot of buyouts today. This was nothing like last year where you had Kevin Durant traded. Nothing of that magnitude. I think before the deadline, I want to say Harden was traded. Now he's moved off to the Clippers and whatnot. So, okay, here's the big one. The Knicks. New York Knicks acquired Bojan Bogdanovic. Now, Bogdanovic. This guy's a great shooter, really good shooter here, spot-up guy. They acquired him, Alec Burks from the Pistons in exchange for guards. Evan Fournier. I didn't know Evan Fournier was still on the team. He had been on the team since last year during another acquisition. Didn't play any during the playoffs. They still kept him on the roster. He's still drawing a paycheck. Now, he's been dealt with Quentin Grimes, Malachi Flynn, and Ryan Archuno. 2 second-round picks. For the New York, which is currently, this is from ESPN, dealing with injuries to Julius Randle, Mitchell Robertson, and OG Anunoby, who's traded earlier from previous trade, not today, obviously. He was acquired in the Toronto trade, adding 2 veterans can help step in rotation immediately, help bolster a team that is hoping to finish with a top 2 seed in the Eastern Conference. And Obley will miss a minimum of 3 weeks. But there was news later on this morning on Anobley. This is from Adrian Wojciechowski. I'm talking about the Knicks here. Wojciechowski says, had surgery to remove a loose bone fragment in his right elbow. It will miss a minimum of 3 weeks. Sources says it's considered minor, and he'll actually be to resume basketball activities in 3 weeks. So that's huge for the New York Knicks, okay? So that's the trade. And now let me read, what the Knicks look like right now, per se. And, yeah, that was a lot of just, cleaning up the books here. There's a few other notes here. Okay, here we go. FanDuel put this out. Pretty interesting. Brunson, looks like he's going to be okay. I know he turned his ankle the other day. So you've got Jalen Brunson, Dante DiVincenzo, OG Anunoby. Again, he's going to be back in 3 weeks. This seems like it was feared at first. Now he's going to be okay. Julius Randle, same thing as that. He's also looking at about a 3-week deal here. Isaiah Hartenstein, and then you got Josh Hart, Alec Burks. These are off the bench guy. Bojan Bogdanovic, Mitchell Robertson, and some guy named Precious. Okay, now that's a pretty deep bench. Hart's been playing well. Burks. This team. Not exactly. I'm going to get back to my regular notes here. But there are some similarities to a team 20. God, the time flies, folks. I tell you. 20 years ago, Detroit Pistons. That team had they won the championship. And mind you, folks, in 2004, okay, the Pistons were going against a great, not a good, but a great dynasty-like Laker team led by Shaq and Kobe. All right. And then they had a surgeon team, well coached. I mean, just a road grader in the Spurs. It was between during those years. Remember, I think Spurs won in 2003, right? It was between the Spurs and the Lakers every year. The way I saw it, just looking at those series, I was like, the winner of this series is going to be it. This team with a Ben Wallace, not even a high draft pick, just a blue collar guy, hard worker guy, kind of got some similarities to Randall, a bigger player. They had players like. They had players, Richard Hamilton, all-star, but not a mega star. Rasheed Wallace made some all-star games, had some issues. Great shooter, 7-footer, not a mega star. Okay, Billups bounced around the league. Very disciplined player, excellent free throw shooter. Again, but had Larry Brown, a stickler for defense, coaching that team. They end up getting a 2 seed. And remember, I just read the Knicks now, they're sitting here just a few games off here. The Knicks here are just a few games out here from first place. And mind you, I just wanted to go back to that 04 team in comparison. That Pistons team, they were a 3 seed in the East. They were a 3 seed. Now, this team is a 4 seed. They're 6 games out of first place. They're essentially 2 games out of second. Cleveland's 33-16. Milwaukee and New York's 33-18. Okay. So you got 2 all-stars there in Brunson and a Randall, and you got a borderline all-star and an Anobley there. This team has not quite got the previous all-stars that team, but they had a bench. They had Tayshaun Prince. Let me go back to the roster here. Comparing them to the 2004 Pistons in a sense per se. You know, they got guys like Tayshaun Prince. You know, Darvin Ham played on this team. You know, the coach of the Lakers right now was on this team. All right. But, I mean, their power forward was guys like Carlos Williamson, Rasheed Wallace. They didn't have they had some depth here. You know, Chucky Atkins with Billups, Lindsey Hunter off the shooting guard off the bench. My point is, it was just all chemistry. People brought into Larry Brown's defense. This Knicks team has some similarities. Look, what I want to say, they pushed Miami to 6 games. They won a series last year, so they're somewhat close to this team. You know, I think with the right breaks here. Now, I say right breaks. Just being vague about, just being blunt. With some injuries here and there. Hey, listen, there's injuries every year. Okay, there was injuries last year from Boston series. We know about Kawhi Leonard. I'm going to talk about them in a minute. Kawhi Leonard got injured. Who was it? Durant get injured. Their center got injured for the Phoenix Suns there. I didn't think, again, I was correct. I didn't think Golden State and the Lakers were going to make it anyways. Too much age there because their seeding was too low. Their seedings were too low. Were they like the 7 and the 6? 7 and 6 led by older players. No bleeping way. So this Knicks team, if you look, I'm not saying they will, but you look at the problems with Milwaukee. We know about the Joel Embiid problems with Philadelphia. Boston's up and down. They're up and down. I mean, they lost a Laker team without Anthony Davis the other day at home and LeBron James. Okay, Cleveland. They beat Cleveland last year. They'll beat Cleveland this year. A lot of young talent. Got Donovan Mitchell on there. Takes way too many shots. I predicted it last year, and of course this year I was correct. So they did beat Cleveland, and I thought it was a great move for them not getting Donovan Mitchell when he was talked about. Instead, just get Jalen Brunson here. So yeah, Miami, very tough. Only they're still in it mathematically. You can't ever count Miami out. They're the 7th seed this year. We know they got to the finals last year. But they pushed Miami to 6 games. You know, again, they're going to get Randall back. They're going to get Anunoby back, and Brunson's going to be fine. You hear the depth here. So there's a possibility they could get to the finals. They'll still need some breaks there. But they have some similarities to that Detroit team. They really do. And, they got the defense. They got the depth, that communication like that. Some cast-off. Julius Randle, this is not his first team. This is not Jalen Brunson. I mean, I'm sure Dallas really regrets letting him walk. But, you got guys like Brunson. They've made some trades here. Not all these guys. So it kind of just you get that sense that it feels like that Pistons team, they still have some room to grow. They've got about 30-something games left, 31 to be exact. We've got the All-Star break coming up here pretty soon. As a matter of fact, the All-Star game is next Sunday. So I like this calendar now, the NFL. So you don't really have – you got the Super Bowl this weekend. You have the All-Star game next week. You'll have some days off. Players will be back probably, Thursday. They'll get past the All-Star break, and then it's just a full-fledged run for seeding. You'll see the players start to really pick up things here. So, listen, I think it was a good day for the New York Knicks. They are that much deeper and a lot of team chemistry here. I thought they have played really good basketball, too. I want to say they've won, 6 or 7, if I'm not mistaken here. So, anyways, I thought it was a good job. They've done a good job here. They haven't overspent. They haven't went after guys that I don't think that fits their chemistry here. So keep an eye out. That's the familiarity. that's their comparable per se. I used to be a realtor. I give you the comparables here of houses. So cost analysis, CPA or something like that. I'm a little rusty because I haven't sold a piece of real estate in almost 10 years now. Time flies, folks, when you are busy. Okay, and now what's the other team? The Clippers. Okay, the Clippers are a half game out of first place. You know what? I did not realize that the Clippers, they've got 4 stars here, and I'm trying to go back to my notes here on them. This Clipper team, surprisingly, they're either in first place or half a game out. Ty Lue done an excellent job making last year. As soon as they got rid of Russell Westbrook, what a run the Lakers went on. And Ty Lue, who made LeBron work, and Kyrie and Kevin Love, comes in December. We all know what happened in 2016. They go on that run with the Cavaliers, go on and win that championship. Ty Lue now, nobody thought Westbrook would work. They made him work. Remember, they got to the playoffs. They pushed that Phoenix team to 6 games. And, of course, obviously, Kawhi got hurt. Go figure. He's been hurt ever since he's been a Clipper, particularly for come playoff time. Then you put the Westbrook thing in there. Like I said, he made it work. Westbrook, 35 now. Wow, did not know that. And then they get James Harden. I was like, oh, this is really going to be bad. Really going to be bad. And, of course, he makes it work that they are on a tear right now. A half game out of first place, 34-16 with Oklahoma City. Denver, Minnesota ahead of them. They're all kind of jumped in. That's basically a statistical tie when you start talking about that half game stuff here. But, I mean, you got a lot of former All-Stars in their 30s, 2 former MVPs. You got 2 former MVPs, Westbrook and Harden together, and a former Finals MVP in Kawhi Leonard with the right seed and a proper management. That's the problem I had in the past about the Golden State Warriors. I mean, they're a 6th seed playing a red-hot, young, hungry Kings team. I said they'll push them to 6 or 7. They pushed them to 7. I thought they would beat them in 6. And, of course, the Lakers end up putting them out the next round, only to be put out themselves the next round by the Denver Nuggets. I nailed that. And the national media, none of those Fox Sports, ESPN, none of them picked that. None of them. But you got to hear a sports scope. That's why I'm the best, huh? I don't know that much about NBA, but I was really hot last year and picking against the national media. Anyways, but, you've got these guys. Like I said, you've got 2 former Hall of Famers, probably. Westbrook and Harden, 2 MVPs there. All right. You've got Paul George, All-Star, Kawhi Leonard, Finals MVP, All-Star, of course, Defensive Player of the Year, you name it. There's similarities, although they're a little bit older. They're a little bit older in places. With Mason Plumlee, though, I think whatever his name is, that other starting center, got some size there. And this reminds me a little bit of that 08 Celtics team. You've got the right coach, pushes defense. He's got the right substitutions. Who was on that team here? I mean, Rondo. Now, they did have a very young guard there. But, remember Ray Allen, Tony Allen. That's defense. Great shooter defense. Obviously, Paul Pierce, Kevin Garnett, Kendrick Perkins, Glenn Davis. So you start to look at that with James Harden, Terrence Mann, Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, Zubiak is who I was trying to think of earlier. Mason Plumlee, Norman Powell off the bench. I mean, they've got some depth here. Guys like Norman Powell. I'll tell you what, they're a team. It's a big if. It's the managing of the minutes. I didn't say game management. You hear load management. I didn't use that word. That's totally missing games. But Ty Lue, it's the management of Paul George and the management, really, of Kawhi Leonard. Like Kawhi, so somebody asked him, what do you think about your injury history? And he says, listen, I got the best guy on the team every night for the games I play. And they don't play 82. But I take the best man. And I'm asking, to take the lead shot towards the end. Their best defender takes me. So, once known as the best two-way player, if Lou can find a way to keep him healthy, I don't see how they can't push a Denver. I don't see how they can't beat a Laker team. And I know the Lakers beat them, but you look at the depth of that team and the stardom and the ability to play together. But it's a lot of ifs. That's a lot. Here I am. What is today? February 8th. Now, I expect probably Kawhi to get hurt because he always does, or Paul George to get hurt. He's had an injury history as well. James Harden and Westbrook, I'm fully aware they can't carry that team. But if they could stay healthy, when you're looking at a 7-game series and they've got that higher seed, whether it be a 2 or a 3 or for a 1, that would be crazy. I got a feeling, though, Denver's going to cut it up a notch and go on a run here towards the end and probably get that 1 or 2 seed. But you look at guys, they're in their 30s, they're hungry. Westbrook never got a championship. James Harden never got a championship. Paul George. These guys are hungry like that 08 Celtics team. So they got the spot up shooting. Not saying it's going to happen. I'm just looking at the mirror image of a team that's actually got a little bit more of a resume. Now, Sam Cassell was on that team. He had a couple of rings with Houston back in the 90s. And if you want to compare Sam Cassell's resume with the Kawhi Leonard's resume, you could do that. Of course, Kawhi Leonard, obviously, arguably one of the best players in the league at one time before the injuries really start to occur post 2019 from Toronto. I'm not saying that they're the exact image of each other, but I do think that they're a lot like that Boston Celtics team of 08. And again, the Knicks kind of remind me of the 04 Detroit Pistons. Again, not the exact image, but if you wanted to compare, if you wanted that precedent, to use a legal term, like they do in the courts, those two would remind me of each other. And Sanja, and I think it's Sanya or Sanja, we're going to have to figure this out because it's spelled one way, and I know Mac introduces my friend the other way. So I've got to figure out what the deal is from the Mac and Jack and Jim Jeff Coates show, Northeast Streaming Sports, and I've got to get the rest of her resume because I got kicked off Facebook. Now, Sonia, is it Sonia or Sanja?
Hi there, Robert. It's Sonia.
Okay. So the J is silent because I've worked with both, and I've had people who spelled their names the same as yours, and it sound like Sonya. But I've also had people, sound just like it was. One like Sanja Dillon, a friend of mine. I wish she would be watching on Facebook, but I ain't on Facebook right now. Hers will spell just like yours.
Yeah, it's German. It's the German pronunciation. The J is a Y in German. And so that's how it is. It's a derivation of Sophia, believe it or not. But yes, thank you so much for having me on the show.
Thank you, my friend. So it is Sonny. Okay, so Mac had it right the whole time. Yes. I wasn't hearing him. And it looks like you got some kind of you got a green screen back there, huh?
I finally got my green screen going. I hope it's showing correctly. I'm having a little bit of issue because I just left my other show. It seemed like it had like a little haze going, but I guess it's okay.
Yeah, it looks like some kind of gym or something, gymnasium.
It's actually the locker room of the Panthers.
Oh, nice. Nice. Yeah. I love your Gmail account, Football from a Lady's Perspective. Now, is that some type of website that you're working on or whatnot?
So I started my podcast, All Things Football from a Lady's Perspective, about 7 years ago. It was right after I founded the all-female fan club for the Carolina Panthers, the Carolina Pantherettes. And I decided to just kind of talk about sports across the board from the NFL perspective, all according to me. Now, I've recently revamped it because Max said it was a mouthful to say all things football from a lady's perspective. So now you will see it's prim and proper sports. So that way I cover everything.
Just like you got it on the title. So yeah,
yes.
Prim
and proper means it's, it's proper. Everything's going to be correct. And I'm bringing a little bit of prim to the table because, I'm a girl. So.
Gotcha. So you're from Charlotte originally. So what is your background? My day job, I'm a medical carrier trying to transition into the sports talk, maybe radio industry. I don't know. It just depends. But yeah, tell me about your background. I've been curious about this for a while.
That's so funny. So I'm about an hour from east of Charlotte. I'm from Lumberton, Red Springs, the Robinson County area, central North Carolina. I've actually been living in Atlanta for 24 years this year, so all of my adult life. Just had a birthday, so I'm officially 49. So I'm just like, I've literally been here all of my adult life.
What date was your birthday?
It was Sunday, 2424.
2424?
Yes.
Are you still considered an Aquarius?
I am.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, my stepmother, my sister's Aquarius.
Okay.
Yeah, lot of good salespeople.
Yes, and so I've been living in Atlanta, but I work for the judicial system, so I'm in law. In fact, I'll be starting law school in the fall, and so I'm trying to narrow it down between two schools that I'm thinking about right now. But I've been doing law for the last 25 years. Right now, I work in a public defender's office as a paralegal, but I've done some of everything from the DA's office. I've worked in a couple of different jurisdictions. And so that's my background during the day. My undergraduate was in criminal justice with a minor in sociology. And then I almost had a degree in broadcasting. And then I got 2 masters recently in public administration. So I'm always happy.
Well, you got me beat on education. I thought my little bachelor's, I thought I was big time.
Don't underestimate the bachelor's. You are a big time.
Said thank you for the opportunity. I think, well, I guess I gotta fake it till I make it.
That's life. We're all faking something until we make it. I promise you.
Let me ask you about Atlanta. I've been talking about this on and off the air probably for 3 years. I'm out of Nashville. We had 7 inches of snow on Martin Luther King birthday up here.
I saw it.
Did you? Yeah. You know what?
I have family in Nashville. They were sending me pictures. My uncle.
Really?
Yeah, I have an uncle that just passed like right before Christmas. He retired homicide with Davidson County. And
police department here?
Yes. And 2 of my cousins, his daughter and son-in-law, just retired from the sheriff's department there. So
okay. I may have ran into him. I used to do security back in the day.
And then I have a best friend that lives in Spring Hill. So yeah.
That's really nice down there. Saturn plant used to be down there.
Yes.
Yeah. Mayoralty they got a lot of, we got some clinics down there that we pick up from Vanderbilt clinics that the company I contract with picks up from. I'm not a big fan of it because in my job, they try to guilt trip you into go out and when the roads aren't clear to go out here and deal with it. So what's your thoughts on Atlanta? How much measurable snow does Atlanta get?
So we haven't had too much since Snowpocalypse, which was like in the, I think it was 2012 or 2014 when they literally shut down the entire city. Like it looked like the world had ended because everyone literally left their vehicles. It was horror stories. I was really blessed because I did not know it was going to snow that day and did not have a jacket. My truck was on a quarter tank of gas. And
how much snow did y'all get in 2012?
So it wasn't really the snow, it was the ice. It was basically like we got the snow and we probably had like maybe 2 inches, but then we had like 4 to 5 inches of ice.
Oh, that's terrible. That's worse than snow. Yeah.
Yep. And then it snowed like a little bit more. So it was kind of like a chocolate cake of ice, so to speak, because it was layer after layer.
That's the worst.
And that's what paralyzed the entire city.
How long were you out of work that week?
I think we were off 2 weeks. I don't think it was
Are
1
you
week.
serious?
Yeah, because the roads were impassable. And then you have to think about a lot of truckers are on 285 coming through here, and they left their vehicles. And so you had to now wait on people to come back and get their cars who had abandoned their cars on the roads. So once the
Mm.
roads cleared, like there was no way everybody could get their cars towed. So you had to wait for the original owners. They were like putting out messages like, hey, if you were driving XYZ, come get your car. Um, yeah, that kind of thing.
Wow. Yeah, I did. When I was living in New York, I did see something on the news. Y'all had a snowstorm in 2002, I think, that was pretty good.
Yeah, I forgot about that one. So yeah, you're
Yeah.
right. That was like real snow, but we get like little drifts of snow. You'll wake up and see like a little coating, not enough to make a snowman, but
Yeah.
enough to kind of get you like a delay to work kind of thing.
Yeah, a friend of mine's moved down there. He's been down there about 3 years. I thought
Okay.
about it, but when you tell me about that apocalypse stuff, I had Tampa as another town. That's farther south, but
Yes.
it's not quite as jumping. Atlanta's about like Nashville, where I could still do a lot of work in my carrier business and do this and network and stuff and still be in a more mild climate. You
Yeah,
know?
the traffic is just horrendous here. The only reprieve was during the pandemic. We finally got like a lot of remote work or hybrid work, but
Oh,
now
that
it's
was
back.
fun here too.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's literally back. It's like there's traffic here around the clock every day of the week, 7 days a week. You're just like on Sunday morning. I notice many people aren't going to church. Where are they going? And
Yeah.
it's just like it's horrible. They're doing a lot of construction because they've realized that we need more roads. And as they say, Atlanta's full, but come on down.
You're about like Atlanta, like the way I am in Nashville. There's cranes everywhere. Nashville's like Dallas was about 30 years ago, 35 years ago, where it was blowing up in the 80s. Cranes
Yeah,
everywhere, potholes everywhere. Too much growth,
definitely.
my friend.
Definitely real growth, but you got to think about the population across the board is booming. You have a lot of Californians that are trying to move east, a lot of New
Yeah,
Yorkers that are moving to the south, a lot of
yeah.
Midwest, everybody trying to escape some type of natural disaster or natural calamity like winter or earthquakes or what have you. So you got these centralized areas that kind of experience a more milder weather, and that's where
Yeah.
people are saturating, including Charlotte. They're saying Charlotte is like the baby Atlanta now. So
What made you want to move to Atlanta? Was it job opportunity with family?
I graduated college in North Carolina, and I actually moved to Virginia for 2 years. And then when I graduated, I was always like, hey, I want to live in Atlanta, and I'm just a free spirit person like that. So I just applied. Back then it was looking in the newspaper,
Yeah.
and just basically sending letters of your resume or calling these people. It wasn't, like we have now, apply online. None of that was applicable to me.
But you moved and just stayed down there. So, but you're saying it's less snow than a Charlotte per se, I would say.
Yeah, Charlotte definitely sees more snow than Atlanta does. And I think it's because there's so many people here that they've just destroyed the ozone. So we don't
Yeah.
have 4 seasons anymore. We have like 2 seasons. We have like fall. No, we have like spring and summer, honestly. We don't even have a fall anymore.
Hey, I
It's
love
like
that.
80 degrees down here in November.
Does it? Oh, the leaves don't change in November.
They change, but it's because they're probably burned from the sun because it's 80 degrees.
It still gets cold here. I can't say all that.
I
I
know.
wish
I
it was
miss
warm.
the cold. Me being a winter baby, I'm always like, I just want the winter. So usually, like, I go to a colder climate so I can experience a real winter.
Mm. Well, I have had a great week. I had Jeffrey Defskovich on. He's a lawyer. He was on yesterday
Oh wow, okay.
and did Tuesday. Oh, great! Yeah, he's got a great story. He got wrongfully incarcerated. That's a long story. He was in prison for 16 years. They should make a movie about this guy's life. Yeah.
Oh wow. So
Yeah.
you and I will have to definitely talk offline because
Yeah.
that is like a passion I have. Like I
Yeah.
used to work with this attorney that did like wrongful convictions on like fire reconstructive, and he
Mhm.
exonerated this guy in Michigan that had done like 30 years for burning up his wife and children, and they didn't
Oh,
have
wow.
they didn't have the whole the
DNA thing and
they
stuff.
have
Yeah.
now. And yes, and like like ever since then, I was just like, that's such a real thing. And
Mhm.
so I have a passion for that. I feel like, there's someone right now that's probably waiting on me to help them.
You should watch yesterday's show. It's long. If you don't want to hear my takes on sports
I
at the
usually
beginning.
listen to you until you came off of Facebook, so now I gotta find you.
Well, hopefully, in air quotes, I'll be back on in a couple of weeks. My sister, God bless her, she's sharing the show in so many groups that I
Okay.
think that she wasn't getting permission from administrators, and I believe that people turned me in, and they might have found something on my intro through what's this thing, TikTok, and they're
Yeah.
real. Anything with music from TikTok on Facebook could get you in trouble.
Yeah,
Get
I
you in
know.
Facebook jail.
I'm always having to submit disputes because I use on my theme show,
Yeah.
I use Quavo's song "Greatness" because I like the lyrics, and every time I have to like submit a dispute because
So
I'm
you
like
that rap like I do. Yeah. You see, that's another thing. I grew up in the inner city here. I was big into rap and stuff. I love those Atlanta rap, Outcasts, Ludacris. I
Yeah,
mean, there's just the coolness about Atlanta. Each time I've been down there, I've always had a good time.
it's nice.
Very businesslike, though. Very businesslike.
Yeah.
When I went to the Brave game, they hit a game. Chipper Jones hit a game-winning home run. This was in the early 2000s, and I'm cheering like I'm leaving the Titans game, and people's like, "Yeah, whatever." And I'm like, "What? They just won? This is crazy."
Yes.
But I'm a football type of mentality fan. I'm not a baseball. Where it's
Right.
more,
It's a different cheer because I
is,
met
right?
Chipper Jones when I first moved here. And when you go to the Braves game, it's like people are there on their phones, they're just
They got the
every now
business
and
suit.
then
They're
they
dressed like me.
yes. And
Yeah.
and football is just like, and so I
Hugging
literally
people and high five. Like there's a lot of Jamies,
yes, yes, it is. Pegs.
Well, I've got to ask you. You said you're originally from Charlotte area. Oh, well, no, wait. I'm getting ahead of myself. So you're going to be a lawyer. Are you trying to get into a lot of good lawyers are good sports and journalists? So tell me are you working on that transition? Because I noticed you're verified on Facebook, by the way. That's something I'm on Twitter or X out. I should have did that. Maybe they wouldn't have bleeped with me,
Right.
Paying them every month.
Right. So I recently just kind of considered that. I kind of probably want to do like this whole social justice thing went wrong, but on the side, I do want to be into sports because honestly, this has taken off bigger than what I ever imagined. Mac and Linda putting me on the Northeast streaming sports platform has.
I'm gonna guess Linda just found you off Facebook.
She did. She sent me a message, and I'm gonna be honest.
She's a recruiter, ain't she?
I saw it and I thought it was like spam. And I was like,
yeah, me too.
I was like, okay, I don't know who this is. Let me just see. So, I responded back. I used my business number and I was like, hey, I got a message, you guys may be legit because it seems like you might be. And she was like, yeah, hi, I'm Linda, blah, blah, blah. And then that was just it. And it was like, so I'm like, well, do you guys want me to call you? And they were like, nope, we'll see you on the show. And I was like, okay, that's a little different. So they're very modernized with everything. But they're awesome. Her and Mac both are go-getters. They have propelled me. Like my videos went from getting, I don't know, every now and then I'd get like maybe 100 and something. I just had a video that got
hyped up when you get 100 on Facebook. I know I did.
I got 100, but 2 weeks ago I got one that had 5,000 views.
Woo! That's good.
So I
haven't got that in a long time. Not a long time.
Yeah, they're sharing and stuff like that. But I think that the key to it is I went on TikTok and kind of did like a little plug ahead of time, and I've just been really, really trying to advertise it. But actually having them has been like super, super helpful. Like I really don't think I would be here without them. And then meeting you and being on your awesome show. And I was watching all of your shows. I love the freaking intro, like the most influential sports. I was like, yes, I love that.
Timo, I forgot the guy's name because he was on a friend from Facebook out of those 4,900. Can you believe these mother bleepers? I mean, they don't give me any kind of like warning, take this down or this. Yeah. There's no customer service when you don't pay a fee.
No, you can't even
tell people
contact
nothing's
them.
free in this world. I'd rather pay the fee so they'll get back to me. I'm trying to build a brand here, you know?
Don't even pay the fee because mine is verified, and I've gotten so many of the inbox messages, like you said. Like the first time, it scared me. I literally sent them a picture of my driver's license and everything, and it was all like,
I didn't have to do all that with the X app, you know?
Right. And so
I'm verified there. So,
you know, it's like they just, it's a scam. And I spent so many days blocking messages. Like for one time, I know I was getting like 20 messages a day telling me my page was fraudulent and it was copyright infringed. Yes. It's a lie. I literally screenshot it, sent it to Facebook, like, hey, can you guys take a look at this? They don't get back to you. I don't know what type of customer service they have, but yet and still, I had a Carolina Panthers friend page, and somebody reported or something. They made me rename it. Like, so now I have 2 pages. Like, they wouldn't let me name it. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Y'all are doing too much.
Yeah, that's what it, now they threatened me first with that. This happened all in one day, sometime in January. You know, I had a rough January. I got sick on January. I got sick on New Year's Day.
Yeah, you texted me because you were telling me. I was like, can you link up? You were like, well, right now I'm not feeling well. I was like,
I had like flu-like. Could have had COVID. I don't know. I think I got COVID. I told the audience already knows this. I think I got it in like February, exactly 4 years ago. Before everything started breaking off in March, when all the traffic got
me too. I got sick in February of 2020. It was like the day after my birthday. I felt like all of a sudden, literally, I felt like I had been hit by a truck.
Respiratory stuff. Yeah. Because it lasted like a month.
Yep.
But I kept doing the show then. I've been doing the show since 2017. I started off in the Periscope. 17. Yeah. Did you really?
Yes, August.
May of 17 to be exact. And I started on the Periscope app. That's why I call it Sports Scope.
Oh, I like that.
That logo above your head, that's really the Periscope app with the blue stuff. It's got the Facebook blue there, but I don't care. The haters, they can't hear me now because I'm not on there, but whatever. But yeah, so anyways, I was a little under the weather, and then we had that snowstorm. And just stuff at work. I mean, this has been a crappy start, but now I feel like I'm back to 100%. I feel pretty good. What do you think about? So you're trying to get breakout, and so what is your goal per se? What idealistic? What do you see yourself coming into? Or are you just saying, I just want a sports talk industry job? Or what's your ideal situation that you would like to be in?
Yeah, I would love to be on ESPN or NFL Network, or, you know, there's this new streaming service that Warner Brothers, Disney, and ESPN are coming up with. I don't know how quick, but I'd love to be on some major network. I'd love to bring everybody that's been with me on this journey along with me, you, Mac, Linda. I just think that we deserve a really huge platform. The Roku is amazing. But I feel like that's just
there.
I feel like that's just the beginning for all of us because we all have like such amazing talent. So for me, if you incorporate that in with the law, you know, I'm still going to be doing this. I want to be like the legal lawyer that is like still doing sport. I still want to do this. I actually started doing this before I have an uncle that passed away the end of 2018. He was my dad's brother, and my dad had passed away a few years before. So he was like a second father to me. And he's a Steelers fan. He went to school with, oh my gosh, the first quarterback that they had for the Steelers that was from Nashville. He's, can't think of his name off the rip. But anyway, he was best friends with.
And they said he was more talented than, oh God.
Yeah,
Terry Bradshaw.
He said that. But anyway, so
he went to TSU.
Yes, and
I told you I would know him.
Yes, and so
one of my regulars would know that, but he's not on right now. Pickles isn't on right now.
Yeah, he was friends with him, so he's a Steelers
Joe
fan.
Gillen.
Joe
Gillen.
I could not think because he has a daughter that was a singer named Joy. She lived down here in Atlanta.
He had some drug issues, but man, he's a great athlete, wasn't he? Wow.
It's ironic that he died after the Cowboys game the day after Christmas, the exact same day and year that my grandmother, who was my uncle's mom, passed. Yeah, they all used to live in Nashville. And so they,
Was your dad a big football fan?
Yes, Cowboys.
Cowboys.
Yeah,
Cowboys. So what was it like working with Jim Jeffcoat for the first time? That was crazy, right?
Jim Jeffcoat is he's super cool. He has like so much, I was really nervous, to be honest with you, about because I've met a few celebrities here and there, being in Atlanta, but I've never had, like I met Cam about 3 months ago in person.
Did you really?
Yeah, I met Cam in Nashville.
Is he as big as he looks on TV? He looks huge.
He's huge. I actually met Cam at Nissan Stadium years ago when he was dabbing at a game. Yeah, but I was talking to him over, like, I have some friends who are like business owners there. And so I was saying hi to him and stuff. But this time I met him at a restaurant here in Buckhead, and he was super cool. He took my phone to do a selfie because he was like, way out here because he knew. And he's huge. I didn't even recognize him. I thought he was a rapper.
How tall do you think he is? 6'5", maybe?
He's probably 6'6", 6'7".
Wow.
That says 6'5", but he looked taller than 6'5" to me. Like, I've known people. But Jim Jeffcoat is the first person I've really had to sit down and talk. He's very cool, very personable. He's come on my show before. Just a really kind, and he's still coaching. He has a plethora of knowledge that he has about, football.
Does he still coach on the side? I didn't know he was still.
Well, I know he references it a lot, so I'm assuming.
He used to be a position coach for the Cowboys, defensive line.
Yes, I knew that. I think now he's working with some colleges, at least from a mentorship perspective.
Okay, probably, yeah.
Him and Byron Williams. I met Byron as well, and Byron is super nice. So yeah.
Yeah, you should have heard Jim and Mac and Jack. They were acting like fans when they first brought Jim on.
Yeah.
And then they brought me on. I used to come on that Sunday show, and I've gotten so busy now. Things gotten crazy.
Yeah, we miss you. I'm on there, and I never see you anymore.
Yeah, but I used to come on the Sunday show, and they said, well, we're kind of down now. We've got Robert Butler from Sports Scope, and I'm thinking, okay, back to life, back to reality. Remember that song?
That Sunday morning sports show. They just renamed it because now we're pivoting from
What's the name of it now? Sunday morning
sports show.
Okay.
We're pivoting to other sports now because of the Super Bowl being, pretty much the end, at least for a little while, of NFL.
Right? Yeah. So you just want something. You don't have anything specific where you're just doing one-on-one interviews. Do you want a debate show? What do you see yourself getting into?
So for a long time, I was just doing a show by myself, just basically talking about sports news and recapping. Yeah. But then
that's me. Yeah.
It's so fun when you have people on and you can kind of just it's like conversation. It's just literally a recorded conversation for everybody to see. And so when people come on my show, I'll tell them hey, we may talk about this, but I kind of go unscripted because I like the natural reaction, and just to be, like I said, conversationalist. So that's what I want to do. I could debate, sometimes I stir the pot with Pags, Jamie on that show, I'll be like, yeah, the Eagles only lasted 1 week past the regular season. Like, what type of champs are those, and then I'll get him riled up, and then, my mission is accomplished.
Yeah, I love Jamie.
What are you talking about? I wouldn't even talk about anybody if I were you. So that's
he is so funny, man. I love that guy. Every time I ask Jamie to come on, he comes on the program. Okay. Back to the Panthers. What are your thoughts on Dave Canals? He did a good job with Baker Mayfield. Him taking over for Carolina. What's the buzz like about that? What's your thoughts on that?
I'm not 1,000% sold right now because I feel like they went and got this coach that just basically made it to the postseason. Like, the NFC South as a whole was a race to the top of the crab barrel, so to speak. I wasn't impressed with anybody. I think Tampa Bay finished at 532 for the season. Nobody was above 500 the entire season. The next team up was 7-10. So it was just it just wasn't impressive. Right. I feel like they hurried that decision. I really don't care for what they did with Baker because we had Baker, and Baker has always been like one of these quarterbacks that he'll show you like the shiny toy image for a while, and then it's back to the same old Baker. I do think they did a great job in the postseason. I was proud of them for going and putting Philly out because I was impressed, but Philly has been a figment of who they are, the whole season. It's not the same Philly. But like, I'm not that convinced. I saw they went and even brought along the offensive coordinator or the offensive coordinator. So they're trying to like basically revamp Tampa Bay in Carolina, but they're not bringing.
I think it was the quarterback coach. The quarterback coach or something's going to be the offense because he was the offensive coordinator, Canals.
Right. And so now they have, my whole thing is getting some weapons on the offense for Bryce. I feel like we drafted this quarterback. Aside from the noticeable physicality issues with him basically being 5'6", I know they say 5'9", but I don't think he's 5'9". I mean, really? I'm 5'6". Yeah, I'm 5'6", and Bryce is like literally close to my height. Like seriously,
really.
I feel like people always want to.
You think he's shorter than Kyler Murray?
I know he's shorter than Baker Mayfield, who's listed as 5'10". He's significantly shorter than Baker Mayfield because they always say the NFL gives you an extra inch. And so you have to think if the NFL is giving Baker 5'10", he's technically 5'9". So if the NFL is giving Bryce 5'9", he's technically 5'8". That's probably right.
Wow. I should try out for the NFL then. That's my height. I'm 5'8". What do you think about Raheem Morris? You're in Atlanta. You know what? I thought it was a little wild that they passed on Belichick, but he had a good press conference.
So Belichick damaged his own self. The word is that Belichick was actually offered the job. He had 2 interviews with Arthur down here, one on the yacht, one on his plane, so to speak.
Wow.
But he left the second interview with the front office in such a disarray that they basically downplayed McKay's responsibilities because Belichick wanted to come in. He's such a huge presence. He wants to do more than coaching. He wants to basically have control of everything as a general manager. And so they were basically willing, honestly, from what I've heard, and Sports Illustrated even had a write-up on this, that the word was not that Arthur was, dismayed and decided not to hire him, but Belichick actually passed up the opportunity because he was not given the control that he wanted down here in Atlanta. And now we see he's 71 and jobless. I mean, we know he's not lacking for any coins. He has his money. He doesn't ever have to work again. But it's just shocking to see it. And I'm actually disappointed that Carolina didn't even try to go for him. They had a whole list of about 19 people that they were doing Zoom interviews for, and Belichick was not on that list.
Now back to, with Carolina, is it really is it the owner there? He threw some water on somebody in the Jacksonville fan. He fires Frank Wright, 6 or 7 weeks in? He's quite a lot. David Tepper.
Threw a drink on a Jacksonville fan. They said the fan had been taunting him the whole game, but you cannot put yourself in that type of position that you are even on that level where you're arguing with regular fans. You're an owner, you're a business owner, and you just have to carry yourself accordingly. And honestly, that's a lawsuit. That's simple battery, for you to throw a drink on someone.
Put the legal hat on here.
Yes. You got to be glad that person didn't press charges because that, was recorded. There was people that was witnessing to that. And in fact, his general manager, Federline, was with him when it happened. I don't know if that's why he fired him or what, because he didn't have his back, but he was right there with him.
Funny.
When it happened. And so, now, he called himself, but they said Tepper has actually gone out and got a hiring agency that's supposed to be doing all his recruitment for him.
Oh, wow.
I don't know because he's big on listening to the media. So like, for instance, he could be listening to the podcast right now. And he's like, oh, let me go do this because they said I should do it.
Well, I hope so. I told him to be patient. I've been talking about him.
Yeah,
he's starting to get a little Daniel Snyder. He's taking over for Snyder. He's already off on a bad start. He has no patience.
He has the billionaire billionaire's mentality, like the Daddy Warbucks. He goes and buys things because he has this money, but has no football acumen, no sports acumen. He runs the Charlotte soccer team the same way he runs the Panthers. They've had about 3 or 4 coaches there. He signs them and pays them. He doesn't mind paying people, but you're not going to stay there. We're still paying Matt Rule. We're also paying Steve Wilkes. We probably are still paying Cam somewhere for where we brought him back. He has all this money, and then he, it's kind of like Christmas. You play with the toys, and you're like, okay, what else do I have? What else is in the gift package? He tires out real easy. Yeah, I call him Temper the Tyrant because it's off with your head, like Alice in Wonderland.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to work for him. So Belichick would have never worked with Tepper because the personas are too.
That might have lasted like 20 minutes.
Yeah, seconds.
yeah, I hear you. All right, well, getting towards the end here. We have so much fun talking to you, Sonia. Yes. Hey, what do you think about the Super Bowl? Which way are you leaning? I don't. They might not want you to disclose who you're picking in air quotes. Which way are you leaning?
I can actually pick. I'm picking the 49ers. I'm picking them to have a close game.
Okay.
21-14, if not less. I'm, big on Christian McCaffrey. Deebo Samuel's from South Carolina, but Christian's a former Panther, and he's just an amazing player. And I'm gonna be honest, I'm just tired of Patrick Mahomes. Now I do like Travis Kelce. I hope he marries Taylor Swift and they ride off into the sunset and they be happy. But I'm really sick of Patrick Mahomes. I think, he's mature. Are you
picking with your heart or are you picking with your head?
No, I'm picking with both. It's a little both.
Okay. Why are you picking with your head? What tells you that the 49ers, well, they are favored by 2.5 points.
Yes, they are.
And they're going to get it done this time.
Kadarius Toney may not play for one with Kansas City, and that's a big loss if he doesn't play. And on top of that, that's just an addition. The defense, you're looking at San Francisco, who was there just last year, and they only lost out because of the whole quarterback injury situation. And they're hungry. They want it. They're on the quest for 6. And I really think that, with the weapons they have on both sides of the ball, that this is definitely their time. And if they could keep Patrick Mahomes in the pocket and isolate him and keep Kelce in double coverage, I think, and Pacheco, of course, I think they have a solid shot to win.
Okay, so you're saying that they're going to do what the Ravens didn't do.
Exactly.
Run till the dad takes the T-bird away. For you Beach Boy fans. That's all. I don't know. I heard this song the other day. It's stuck in my head. It's my dad's generation. And the Ravens, they didn't. It's like they panicked because they got down early and they looked at, they were intimidated that it was Patrick Mahomes and that defense. So you're saying that maybe that because this would be part of my analysis for tomorrow with Carlos New Yorker Chavez is when Denver beat them. When Denver beat Kansas City, they had 40 rushing attempts, 8 rushing attempts by Russell Wilson himself. So you saw Brock Purdy, he ran for 40 something yards against Detroit. Well, now you realize you got that element. You just mentioned Deebo, obviously Christian McCaffrey. I think that would be the recipe. The Raiders beat them on Christmas Day. Aiden O'Connell didn't have a passing touchdown in that game. Mm-hmm. So you don't want to get in it's like playing basketball. You don't want to get in a 3-point shooting contest with the Golden State Warriors. You want to pound them inside and get, play a half court game and kind of muck it up a little bit as much as you can legally do so.
But Patrick's been perfect in the postseason. Patrick's
been perfect.
In the postseason, PPP.
You're right. I can tell you're down in Atlanta. Everybody can rhyme down there.
I've been doing it since I was a kid, though. So it's North Carolina, actually. Red Springs.
Do you like Petey Pablo?
Yes, love him. I should have been in the video.
You mentioned North Carolina. I moved to New York when I was 20 years old. A friend of mine from high school. I was going to be an actor. He's going to be a comedian.
Oh, wow.
And they heard our country accents. We moved into an apartment down up there across the street from Fordham University. I don't know if you've ever been to Manhattan.
Yes, I've been. Yeah, and they will eat you up with that accent up there.
Yeah. They's like, "Good, you guys are brave. You are there was the people in our complex. All of them were young like us, So some college students went to Fordham University and all this. They're from Connecticut and like, you guys are brave up there. Let me guess, you want to hear some of that Petey Pablo. This was back in 2001, 2002.
Yeah, that's when I moved here.
North Carolina. When you say that, that makes me think, is he still doing okay? Haven't heard from him in forever.
It was a one hit. He's doing okay. Somewhere out there.
It's a good album, though.
Very good.
Yeah. Steve Harvey always talks about that Ashtray song he has on that album.
Oh yeah. I kind of got caught up on a couple of them, and then I just kind of skip through back. When you could skip or fast forward, I should say.
You're saying 24. Yeah, I think it'll probably be Kansas City, but this is not one of those Super Bowls where it's like I really can't see a scenario where the other team wins, not unless there's a bunch of turnovers.
Right.
This is one where, with the right game plan, they can win. But my fear is Pacheco can run the ball, just like who was it? Chad says North Kalachi. I grew up in Charlotte. Okay.
North Kakalaki. Kakalaki is how you say it. Kakalaki. Hi, Chad.
I grew up in Charlotte. Okay. All right, Chad. But I was saying, like, you had Aaron Jones, you had Gibbs, two guys to just get the ball in the flat or run between the tackles on that 49er defense. I'm just afraid that Kansas City is going to be able to do that with Pacheco like they did with Baltimore. And, it's kind of the KC defense is playing great right now. They're well coached. And if it comes down to Mahomes versus Purdy, I mean, it's the Mahomes world right now,
Yeah, he's the greatest right now. And Purdy doesn't have that experience. So if you're looking at experience, I don't know.
The flip side, Nick Foles beat Tom Brady.
But the other flip side is Sam Darnold is their backup quarterback.
Who's the backup quarterback?
Sam Darnold is the backup quarterback.
Oh, that's right, for the 49ers. Yeah.
Yeah, so once again, another Carolina connection. So, we may see him if it starts looking crazy. Who knows?
Yeah. It's going to be a really good Super Bowl. That's a fast track there. Some people says it could be high scoring because of that fast track. It's in Vegas. Others saying, well, both teams are going to try to run the ball, and it could be like a 23-20 type of game. You know,
21-14. But you're right.
21 for a full touchdown.
Full touchdown.
Okay. Who's going to get the MVP then? Who's it going to be? Christian McCaffrey?
So Christian will get the offensive player. I think that
Super Bowl MVP, Sonia.
I think that Patrick's going to probably get it. I mean, does it always have to go to the winner? It doesn't always have to go to the winner.
I mean, I can't remember it not doing that. I know it has in the NBA Finals. I know Jerry West won it one time.
But, then you think about it, is it going to be a non-quarterback? That's the thing. I don't see Brock Purdy getting it. I'll put it to you like that.
Okay. Well, back in 2002, one of the defensive backs for Tampa Bay Bucks won Super Bowl MVP, and it wasn't Rondé Barber or John Lynch.
Exactly.
Yeah. Sometimes it's a no-name that just happens to get a bunch of picks,
It's definitely one of those things. And so I really feel like this game is going to be interesting. I've had some people say they're not interested in it really because I don't know, maybe because they don't have, the people they thought. Everybody thought that Baltimore was going to be there. I even thought they were going to be there. I wanted people too, and the Lions, the Lions who've never been to the Super Bowl. I just knew it was their year, and it's not. So,
what's your take on Dan Campbell going for all those field goals like that, or not going for the field goals, going for fourth downs?
Right, going for 4th and 1 or 4th and it could be 4th and 8.
2. That was crazy.
If it was 4 and 32, he's going for it. I just felt like I always heard you supposed to take the points. Take the points and live to play another down.
Was you
and
saying that to the TV in the third quarter when they went up 17?
Yes,
Me too, right?
Because I'm like, at the end of the day, it wasn't like it was the final play, except for that Dallas game. And even then, that whole debacle that went down, it's just like, take the points. I feel like they said Dan had been playing like that the entire season. He was trying to make a statement. It's almost like daring Dan, like you dare him to do anything else because
there you go. She's got another rhyme.
And so,
it's like in the Pee Wee's Playhouse. Every time he's doing a rhyme, I just want to have a little sound thing, It's like, remember the Pee Wee Herman show when they say the word of the day?
Yes.
Then like the windows will go open and all the
Yep. And then now they have that like on Sesame Street and all that.
Yeah, you are thrilled.
But it's literally like that. And it's like I feel like the person we saw, the locker room clips of him, real animated is how he is across the board. I hope they get back. I hope they get back next year.
Well, I think they got a young team, and maybe if they get something worked out with who's in a contract year. Jared Goff is in a contract year. Unlike Carlos Manioc or Chavez, who is just everything is doom and gloom, saying they're not. I don't believe him. Just like he said that Kyle Shanahan, because he's the anti-Shanahan guy, wouldn't get back to the Super Bowl. I said, no, they're going to get back this year. And they did. I had them playing Cincinnati in the preseason, but Joe Burrow ended up getting hurt. Can you plug your shows? I know that your times have changed and everything. I know you're on the big sports show on Sundays at 8 p.m. Eastern?
8 a.m. Eastern.
8 a.m. Eastern.
Sunday morning show. And then I'm on Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday at 7 Eastern. And I am on Wednesdays at 9. So I could try to.
And what's the name of those shows?
So let me see. It looks like I can join the chat. So let me just connect and do it. It is going to be, and can you still see me?
Yeah.
Okay. It's going to be Prim and Proper Sports with Sonia. And so, yeah, I'm actually joining the chat now so that I can drop those in there for you and your audience.
You don't have to do all that. Wow, you going above and beyond, Sonia. I feel bad.
Don't feel bad. I'm literally on the chat now, so I'm just gonna say hi to everyone, and you will see it in there from Prim and Proper Sports.
I love that logo. I love your Gmail.
Thank you.
Watching you and Keith Angle, I've got to take my game up. Keith's one told me about the green screen and all that stuff.
But we're all here to work together, and I've learned so much from all of you all. And we're only as good as the other person. You got to encourage everybody.
That's like being a team player, right?
Yes.
Everybody needs a team, my friend. And you know something. Whenever you want me to come on, you know what time I come on this show.
I've been waiting for you. Yeah. So I have an opening. I just been waiting for you to get better.
Oh, I've been better. I've been grumpy, but I've been better because of work and everything. Yes. Even 7 inches of snow put me in a bad mood for about 2 weeks, but it's all past us. Today it was 60 degrees here in Nashville, by the way, so we're good.
I know. See. And so on the Tuesday, Thursday, and Fridays, it's going to be the NESSP with me basically at night, and I'm literally putting that in the chat now. And then on Wednesdays, I have my own show, which is Prim
and that's Proper Streaming Sports, folks. Yeah.
Yes. Sorry, I should have spelled it out.
No, it's okay.
The Prim and Proper Sports is going to be on Wednesdays at 9 p.m. And let's see. And then on Sunday mornings, I have the Sunday morning big sports show that is on NESSP2 Northeast Streaming Sports. And so that's not my specific platform, but I do share it.
With the Mac and Jack and Jim Jeffco. I mean, you got a Hall of Fame boxing writer there. You got a Super Bowl player there. I mean, it's like you said, I mean, they're go-getters. And Jim went out and found them. I asked Jim, I said, how'd Linda find you? He said, well, I found out. I said, get out of here.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And it's all Eastern time, folks.
Yes.
I'm not a Central time.
Eastern Standard Time. You have to get up a little bit earlier, but you can still make it to church if you catch it Central Time because it's an hour earlier. Like I go to church right after I log off every time.
Do you really?
Yes,
okay.
Yes. I'm a member of the Church of Christ. So we start around 10ish and I get on over there and, I might be about 10 minutes late, but they're still singing. So I'm great across the board.
Yeah, I've been going, but see what I've been doing the day job, been working some Saturdays. I used to work 12 hours, Sonia, 12 to 12 and a half hours, Monday through Friday, making good money doing carrier work. But then I cut it down to 8 hours. And then, so I had to make up some time, so I had to pick up a Saturday here. And that's why I told Mac, I said, man, they're burning me out. They're killing me, Smalls.
It's literally like that. It's literally like you feel that way because I feel like
for a long time because I still work hard to put together this program.
Yes, because that's research. You have to, you got to do the research, or you're not going to know what happens when you're going live. You're going to be sitting there like,
right. It's hard. It's hard to do it off the cuff like that. I've tried doing just this freestyle. And, I start, but, now I've got a lot of friends that help. I like to have it structured as much as possible. Just like yesterday, I'm about 11 minutes over. But when I got great guests like you and Jeffrey Deskovic, I always make an exception. So
thank you, Robert.
Really appreciate it. Like I said, you get a hold of me. I'm good for about 30 minutes.
Okay.
About 30 minutes. And then I have to prepare for this thing. But, we'll see. I'll definitely guarantee I'll come on.
Yes, I appreciate the opportunity. It's been fun. You have an open invitation to join me anytime. And I've had a great time with everyone on here. Thanks, Chad, for all the love. And I hope you all have a great night. Thanks so much for having me on.
All right, Sonia. Hey, have a good night, everybody. And I will see you when I see you, my friend. See ya. All right, everybody. I will be back tomorrow with Mad New Yorker Chavez. Be giving you a prediction. I'm leaning Kansas City, but give you a full breakdown, full injury analysis. Maybe she said something about Tony. He might play, actually. But we'll see. We shall see. They still have some offensive line injuries. I don't think Tooney's going to play for Kansas City. But I just got a feeling that they're going to pull it out. Wouldn't be surprised. Hey, the 49ers are favored. So I'll be on here arguing about the Knicks tomorrow and probably the Clippers with Carlos Mad New Yorker Chavez. Knicks, a lot of big trades today. Didn't get mega stars, but got a lot of chemistry guys there and depth players. So thanks, everybody. I'll be back here tomorrow, same time, same place, here on Sports Scope.